Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Power Platform 101 podcast. My name is Rory Neary. I'm a Power Platform solution architect and trainer, and I'm joined here today by Craig White, who is also a Power Platform solution architect and an ecosystem architect as well, which I will get into at some point in the future. And so Craig, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
I'm really excited. Yeah, you're you have the accolade of somebody that has actually left a comment on the YouTube podcast. Yeah, you're one of the I haven't done a top 10 of those people because there aren't 10 of them. But if anyone would like to leave a comment, then it's always really nice. Little thumbs up, subscribe, all that sort of thing. But thank you so much for coming on. I knew you'd be a brilliant guest.
Thank you. Let's hope I live up to that expectation.
And let's start with the reminiscing bit. Now, I don't know when you came across me. I don't think I came across you at the same time as you came across me. But
correct.
Here's something that you don't know. And I can't show. I do I do a bit of sketching as well.
I do, yes, yeah.
Okay, so I sketched the back of your head when you were sat with Charlie Phipps, and we were at like a South Coast Summit type thing, watching something. I thought I'd just have a little sketch. So I am almost certain that I sketched. Is that possible that you would have been sat with Charlie at some point?
I'd imagine so at some point, yeah. I'm going to guess it was South Coast Summit 2023.
Right. And
I think could be.
And do you remember the girl
that the first time that I met you in person was South Coast Summit 2023, so it could have been then.
Yeah.
So the picture at the back of my head, I'm guessing is one of your most valuable pictures you've ever done, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I could definitely pick you out of the crowd, or someone could on the basis of that.
Yeah, all good. But yeah, it's quite possible. That would have been, nearly 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
That could be well be possible, I'm sure.
Yeah, so, but that's certainly something I remember. And I remember all my sketches, and that's one of the reasons why I do them, is because they really connect me to the moment.
I think they connect other people as well. It's one of the things, there's always like a trend when you come back from a conference and everyone does that, a sort of obligatory social media post. Oh, I came back from here thanks to tag every man and his dog.
Yeah.
It's picking out the unique parts, and whenever you've been to an event, you always share some of the sketches that you've done, and I really like that because one, they're really really good, but two, it's that additional part of capturing the moment that is something a bit more unique. That's not just a photo that's sort of taken on a smartphone. So I think they're really good. I love it when you do those because it's a unique talent that you've got and you're sort of sharing it with other people. It's wicked. It's nice.
Yeah, I think I listen better when I'm doing them, weirdly enough.
Hyper focus almost, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's when I remember coming across your good self, and obviously I'd seen you posting things before that, and I also remember seeing you. At a conference, and I think it was the first time that you said you'd done that you had done public speaking before, and you did your session on there's an app checker. I'm just trying to remember what it's part of, some of the PowerCat tools.
Yeah, that's right. It was originally the PowerCat. I think they've released a new version of the PowerCat tools and the code review tools in there. But yeah, I spoke last year at Scottish Summit about the code review tool because from my experience, I don't think it was one of those sort of tools that was necessarily very well known, and it's an opportunity for you to put your Canvas app in, and it'll kind of give you a score and tell you sort of things that you need to improve and things that are already passed, like a test of some kind.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the same team at Microsoft that build the COE toolkit, so there's some pretty good minds at Microsoft that build these tools. So why don't we use them? So yeah, I did a session about that last year, and I remember you doing one of your sketches.
Oh, did I?
Presentation, yeah. I think I've got the photo. I actually saved the photo.
Oh, right.
There,
yeah.
My own prosperity. I was like, that was really cool. Thank you. So, I really enjoyed that session. That was only the second time I'd spoken in public at an event.
Yeah.
The first time was at the European Power Platform Conference last year, when Michael Roth and I did an all-day workshop. That was literally my first speaker gig. An all-day workshop, no pressure. Dipping my toes in last year, and it was good fun. So yeah, all good.
Ah, that is good. Yeah, so let's wind back the clock. I mean, Power Platform hasn't been around for that long. It's been around what, 7 or 8 years, depending on which power thing you got into first.
Something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like you had, Power BI, Power Query before then, but Power Query isn't really Power Platform. It's just a little bit of. But it was the first thing I think that had power in it that I can recall.
PowerPoint, which is the OG, right? But yeah,
yeah. I mean,
Power Query. Yeah, I remember doing lots of Power Query in Excel.
Yeah,
like, that's going back to 2014, 2015, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably showing my age a bit there, but Power Query
definitely been around a long time.
Stretch.
Yeah. So when did you start? What was your route into Power Platform then? Take us back as far as you can, really.
My route. Well, this is where we might vibe together because you're a former accountant, aren't you, Rory? Yeah. How far down the accountancy road did you go? Were you full on like CMA or ACCA?
I did ACA. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I was an auditor, and then I went into industry after that. Then became group financial controller for a reasonable size organisation. But let's be honest, it was all just numbers. There was a lot of reporting and so on.
Yeah. All number crunching in Excel, right? But that's where I actually started. I didn't go as far as you have. I got to AAT, which is like the introduction level of accounting exams. My career started just putting invoices on computer systems, respectfully, sort of like the bottom of the chain, is it, in terms of accountancy. I did that for years, and then I moved to Cornwall, and I got a job at the local hospital doing the same thing, and in a finance department, and I got a promotion a few months later, and my first job was just to get some Excel graphs ready for the new financial year. That was my first job. I'd never really played with Excel before. And I wasn't really an accountant, to be fair. I was learning the trade of doing profit and loss and balance sheets. I was at the beginning of that journey. But that was in about, 2007, 2008. So that's my start in accounts, spreadsheets. For that sort of 6 years, I then ended up learning. I liked automation. I liked to click a button and things would do things. Yeah. Like, you probably well know that the old school accountants have got those massive calculators where you press the buttons and it prints the numbers out, right? So I was working with a whole bunch of these guys, and there was me going, how can I do these? How can I make these spreadsheets go quicker? So I started learning VB.
Yeah.
And we had a data scientist in our finance department to help with like a lot of the analysis and business cases and stuff like that. And she taught me loads of stuff of Access and Visual Basics.
Yeah.
So then I started gravitating into, I don't really want to be an accountant because that doesn't really tickle my fancy. And I was told if I wanted to get further promotions, I'd have to go a similar route to you, do ACCA, ACA, CMA. I was like, I don't really want to do those. They look really hard. And I want to be interested in it to do it. And I'm not interested. So let's not bother with that. Then I gravitated into business intelligence, data, warehousing, SQL Server Stack. So I think SQL Server Stack, I don't know if it still has, but it had like integration services to manipulate your data, reporting services for reports. You could build like multi-dimensional cubes, analysis things. So I did a bit of that, and then part of that project in the NHS, I was then exposed to SharePoint on-premise. So we had data warehouse into SharePoint on-prem, and we were replacing all our Access databases and spreadsheets and putting them into SQL, which was really cool. So I did a lot of T-SQL writing for a number of years. And then we're like, okay, well, we've done that. That's really cool. What else can I do in SharePoint that might make things go quicker and look fun? So the older school might remember some SharePoint on-premise products called Infopath and SharePoint Designer. You're nodding your head, so I'm guessing you understand.
Well, I don't remember it, but I was fortunate enough to be, when I started with SharePoint, for that particular thing to be on its way out.
Oh, you're very lucky. I had about 4 years doing Infopath forms. They were fun, and I was working with a customer recently trying to still convert old school Infopath forms into the Power Platform. That is not a fun experience. If there's anyone out there doing that, you have my best regards, because it's a pain. But yeah, those are the products at the time. So this is kind of 2014, 15 kind of time. So SharePoint on-prem was still very much a thing.
Yeah.
The cloud was probably still seen as I don't know if I could put my data in SharePoint online, it's not secure. I think the whole world was sort of still in that sort of intermediary phase. So we were doing a lot with InfoPath internally to automate HR processes, and we had SharePoint Designer, which is like the workflow engine.
Yeah.
If you don't know, InfoPath and SharePoint Designer are literally just bound to SharePoint, really, and that's it. Can't really do anything else. So naturally, when Microsoft were talking about Power Apps and what was then at the beginning Microsoft Flow, those were deemed as the successors to InfoPath and SharePoint Designer. So that was my natural way in. I was like, we've got new shiny products. And then I spent about 2 years moaning at Microsoft because the new products didn't do what InfoPath and SharePoint Designer did, because I was used to them. And then that's just sort of been my 2017 onwards, has just been, pedal to the metal Power Platform, basically. Just love the tool set, building Canvas apps, building flows, building agents now. It's a kind of natural gravitation. So accountancy, data warehouse, SharePoint, Power Platform is the too long didn't read, I guess.
And I guess there are a lot of people that can point to their route into Power Platform as having been via SharePoint.
Yeah. I think there's two routes, really, isn't there? There's either, if you've come from the Dynamics and data first route, that's one way in, or the SharePoint route, that's the other way in. That's probably the typical one or the other, I think, isn't it, now?
Exactly. And it is like, you do feel as if you put those people in a room together. One person is talking French and the other person is talking German. They don't really understand each other.
No, and I don't think they ever will either. But I think that's the world we come from, I think, and I really appreciate my grounding in SharePoint because, weirdly, we're now talking to customers in my role about using M365 Copilot internally to gather information and documents and whatever else. And what does that use for grounding? SharePoint Online and OneDrive. So a lot of those skills that I got 8, 9, 10 years ago are actually sort of coming back round full circle. I was like, I can remember SharePoint permissions. They're easy. To a lot of other people, they're really annoying. But like some of those old skills, I'm sort of brushing off a little bit. So it's kind of nice. And I have a big soft spot for SharePoint. I know it gets a lot of bad press in the Power Platform space. And it's not a relational database. And we can have all of those arguments until the cows come home. But a simple use case for a couple of people, you can't beat a SharePoint list, can you? It's easy, it's free, it's accessible. It's a good skill to know, right? And no one will ever convince me otherwise, though I am a big Dataverse fan, so I do need to throw that out there.
Yeah, and obviously there was that time, I remember I was sat... we had this person, I was working in Parliament, and this someone from Microsoft came. It was Darshan Desai, and he came along, and he was having a meeting, and so I came to the meeting. And he said, "Oh, Rory, I'm doing a presentation at Microsoft." Oh, that sounds really cool. And so, and I happened to in our lunch break, I said I showed him this thing, this crazy app that I'd built, which was like a 007 themed Power BI report.
Nice.
With the Power app embedded inside it, where you could basically, you had dots on a screen which told you where the agents were, where the spies were, and where the, call it, targets were.
Amazing.
And in different colours and stuff. And then in the Power app, you could then, because it was kind of fully connected, if you like, you could then change the data, and then the Power BI report, which was also a live Power BI report, that would also change. And so he gave me 10 minutes at the end of his demo he was doing to be able to present this thing that I'd made. And that was my first ever presentation.
Amazing.
That I'd done. That was my route in. I never even mentioned it on any of these podcasts, but that was my route into
Awesome. And that, I think you've touched on a point that I recommend to so many people just starting out. It's really useful to just get hands-on with a platform, to learn it, in my opinion. But sometimes you can't do that in your day job, and you haven't got your work data to replicate. You mentioned I built like a James Bond app and a dashboard. Some people might remember a few years ago I built a Formula One Power app and dashboard.
Right.
Take a subject that you're really interested and passionate about, and use that as your data source to go and learn Power Apps, Dataverse. And I think it's even easier now, because I'm sure back then you didn't have Copilot say, generate me a CSV with 100,000 rows about James Bond villains. It'd be a lot easier now, wouldn't it? But I love the fact that you just took a subject you're passionate about to go and learn the tools, and then that leads to other opportunities where you can go and present and demo, because other people look at it and go, hey, that's really cool. What a great use case. Can you come and present it? Oh, that's wicked. That's really good. Because it's not just so limited, is it? It's something fun and exciting that people can relate to and puts a smile on their face. That's really important.
Yeah.
Way to learn.
And I know that you do similar, you like experimenting yourself as well. I know that you did that with your with the project that you did with your wife too.
I'm glad you said that, like experimenting with my wife. I'm glad you put the word project in there, just to kind of, But yeah, I did. I built a solution for my wife. She started a self-employed business 2 years ago now, I think. Just over 2 years ago. She's a beauty therapist.
Yeah.
She's highly trained, got all the certificates you can think of for that particular industry. Don't ask me which ones, because I don't know which ones. She's gone self-employed. She's got it's a summer house in the garden. I call it a shed. She calls it a salon. So we've compromised and called it a shalon in the garden. And we were looking at applications on the iOS store that could manage bookings, send alerts, pick different treatments, have some customizations. And there was nothing that was quite ticking every single box. Yeah. Or there was, but it would cost like £70 a month for a subscription fee. It's like, well, we're not doing that. So I just built her a Power App. It's not the best looking thing in the world. It's all right. But it's still functional. 2 years on, it's still working. She uses it to manage her appointments. She's got a daily calendar. We've got Power Automate flows that send emails and tell people where we live and how to find us and where to park. And we built that together. It's just like a bit of a project of teaching her some low code and building an application that we now doesn't cost us anything really. So yeah, it was good fun. I enjoyed that. And again, it's just like a pet project that turned into something very real that provides business value to someone who's just starting out. I think it's really important stuff. So yeah, it's a good fun little project. That enjoyed it. It's good.
Yeah, and I don't quite find that I've got enough time for doing new projects or new kind
I
of.
don't anymore.
But I do have one in mind, and so I do busking, a bit of busking at the weekend, mainly to practice the songs that I know and so on. I think I've got an ulterior motive to be able to do a bit of gigging and so on. But one of the things that is difficult is knowing the words and chords to all the songs. Yeah. Now, so there's probably about 80% of the songs I just know all the words and chords, and that's fine. But when you're busking, nobody's taking any notice of you anyway, so you can just practice whatever you like. The problem is with the apps that you have on the App Store, they don't really follow, they don't track what you're playing at that time, which means that you're kind of like, in between the chords and you're kind of like scrolling up, and it's not quite as. But I think it would be a lot of fun to make a small kind of like mobile shaped Power App, and in that app you just have the probably the lyrics. Generally you don't need the chords, you tend to know the chords anyway, but if you have the lyrics, but then here's the thing, here's the secret sauce. And so essentially it's a series of images, but the secrets, it could be images or words, but the secret sauce is that you have used those flick buttons.
Yes. Yeah.
So what you would do is the flick button, right? And what would the flick button would do is it just increments a counter. And what that counter would do was then change the verse that you were playing. But you see, you could do that with your foot, you see.
Yes, there you go.
So you could do it whilst you're. So I think that would be, like, if I was going to do something, however janky it was, that would actually be quite a neat little thing. You'd have a data model, obviously, to support it all and so on. That would be a fun project.
I think it would. And again, it goes back to that point of either it's an opportunity to learn or just to something fun to lose yourself in. Like when you're switching off for the day, I do sometimes play around in the evenings because, believe it or not, mucking around with Power Apps sometimes is my way to de-stress and just chill out.
Yeah.
Because in my current role, I don't always get a lot of opportunity to be hands-on. So when I am in my own time, I don't just want to do boring stuff with the greatest respect, like an annual leave tracker or whatever. I was like, well, I've seen loads of them. I want to do some fun stuff. And that's the kind of thing, like, you're going to get more excited to do in an evening because it's like, I've got a goal and I want to see if this is possible. So I'm just going to go and play around. No one has to see it. No one has to judge me. But if I get to a certain point where it works, maybe I'll knock out a blog post or a video and share with other people what I've done. and you get something really cool that you could just go busking with and go, hey, I've got this app that I built. It does this. Like, that's kind of cool.
It would be
like
funny.
that kind of stuff, right?
It would be funny.
Yeah, do it.
So, I feel as if we've roughly got you to about 2021, 22, 23-ish in terms of your... But we've still got you working in the NHS, but presumably there was some things that happened.
Yes. Yeah, I went from the NHS into higher education. So I worked for a UK university called King's College London. But a lot of their IT moved to Cornwall, which is where I live.
Okay.
Which is nice because Cornwall is a very seasonal place, so you don't really get big companies down here.
Yeah.
But the opportunity for like well-paid full-time work is very limited to the NHS and the council.
Yeah.
You know, as I'm sure you're aware, in the UK have their own budgetary restrictions. So having a large UK university bring some of their IT function down here, I'm a few more jobs. So I moved from the NHS to King's around about the same time as I really started to get deep into the Power Platform world, 2016-17. And I was there for about 5 years, and I kind of looked after the team that ran the whole M365 and Power Platform services for 60,000 people across the King's College various campuses. So that was until 2021. And then I was like, I need a change. I kind of achieved all I wanted to at King's College. I was like, it's time for something different. And there was a good nucleus of us that was sort of slowly starting to break off and go their separate ways. And it's sort of like, maybe it's time for me to have a change as well. And that's when I moved into consultancy. So I've worked in, again, still delivering Power Platform solutions and governance to various clients across different industries since 2021, pretty much. So, and that's where I still am. Still work for a consultancy, still work with some great minds, and I quite like it. It's a bit faster paced. You're juggling more hats, I guess, to some extent, but you get exposed to different people, different projects, and I love meeting people from different walks of life, seeing the challenges, helping to kind of come around them. So, it's a good fit. I've enjoyed it, and I still learn every day, which is the most important thing, right? Yeah, I enjoy consultancy. It's good fun. Probably I was going to see myself doing it for another number of years, and probably merging and get maybe not so much fully Power Platform focus. I think I'm going to start, as I said earlier, getting back a bit more into my Microsoft 365 space that I used to do a few years ago. Looking more at the agentic stuff now, which is, I guess, a common theme, right? So I'm not going to try and go the whole session without mentioning that C word. I was just going to say agent instead of the other one instead. I think my role is changing with the time. So if we had the same talk in a year's time, I'd probably say I'm more like an M365 architect or a governance architect. I don't know what my future holds, but I'm sort of gravitating into more spaces than just the Power Platform these days. But again, that's exciting. Just like something new, see what happens, right? And just have fun with it. Yeah, it's good fun.
So, okay, that takes you up to roughly today then, and what I don't know, a bit of an open question here in terms of, like, everyone's been exposed to AI in the last couple of years, and probably a couple of years like before that they probably weren't really thinking about AI.
Yeah, full on. But I bet it was around them.
and I've not actually asked this question of anyone, but there was certainly a time when, at peak AI, if you like, that AI was going to solve everyone's problems. And I was just thinking, global warming, not enough food, AI doesn't grow food. You know, do you know what I mean? I sort of thought, in terms of, like, there's some real fundamentals of what's happening in society. And then maybe even questions around, like, okay, say, for example, we make the world crazy efficient, and companies don't really think that way. They think we're going to make our operation more efficient, and then we're going to make people redundant. That's really what. And so there's a lot of kind of questions there around, is it doing us good? Like, is it or is the hype? Are we in a hype cycle as well?
I think we still are a little bit. Especially in the Microsoft space. I think, respectfully, the products I use and love, they're not quite at the level that the marketing content might suggest. But as a wider point in terms of AI, I don't think it's hype at all. I think it's genuine. I think the power of what AI is able to do and the amount of people can touch, I think is fantastic. I am conscious about that the digital footprint, right? And how many trees does it take to generate an image in Microsoft Designer? So there's those sort of elements of like, what's the environmental impact of all these additional servers somewhere that have got to do all this number crunching and processing power and everything else to generate that response in 2-3 seconds. I'm sure there's some environmental impact somewhere that maybe my generation isn't really going to care about, respectfully, but my daughter's generation and my daughter's kids' generation might get more of the brunt. I always liken it a bit to smoking. I think when smoking was first released, right, everyone thought it was an amazing cure, everyone smoking, lovely job, and it's only a few years down the line, like, oh yeah, actually it can like give you all these diseases and it's really not actually that good for you anymore. But the education came too late and people are hooked on it. I'm sort of wondering, I'm still like a little bit cautious of like, AI is amazing and I use it every day. Are we going to not realise the environmental impact of it until a couple of years down the line, and by which point it's too late to kind of, repair the damage? I hope that's not the case. I don't think we're going to find that out for another couple of years, by which point a lot of AI is just going to mature to beyond the stratosphere, I think. It's amazing the kind of stuff you can do with AI, and I love using it, and I love using it with my kid every day. Like, just really stupid things, like, we've got into this habit of... every night when she cleans her teeth, he's like, Daddy, can you read me a story? So I've put into ChatGPT, I need a 2-minute story, and it's got to be about my daughter riding a horse, and there'll be something silly in it, like a word or something we've done during the day. Bang, I've got a bedtime story for 2 minutes. Just fun stuff like that. It's great, but I am consciously aware of, like, what is that environmental impact? So it's a good question. I don't think we perhaps think enough about it, because we're just too busy using it for all this cool stuff and not thinking, what are we leaving behind? Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that, say, for example, you did make, I don't know, society way, way, way more efficient. Well, what would people do with the time that they then had?
Build Lego. There you go, sorted. I've already got my time back. I'm ready to go. It's a good question. But I still kind of point back to actually what you said at the beginning of that question is so pertinent. Is it going to solve issues around world peace, terrorism, civil wars? No. Yeah. And if anything, AI could potentially be used to be more harmful, to make those things worse. Yeah. Who knows, right? So those are the real world problems that need solving. I don't think ever will. Do you know what I mean? So actually, are we focusing our attention in the right place? However, I love the fact that the use cases for AI being used to improve sustainability, or find new and cheaper fuels that mean that we don't have to spend thousands of pounds a year on gas or electric or whatever. I'm loving seeing AI being used for future-proofing our economy and our infrastructure. That I'm all on board for, because, again, that means that our living is more sustainable and cheaper, which means that we've not necessarily just got more time, we actually might have a few more quid in the back pocket to be able to go and have fun with our families. And that I'm supportive of that. That's a good show. Good question.
So
I like it.
We could go down that rabbit hole for quite a while, if I'm honest. I heard I'll finish on this one thing, which is I saw a post very recently, and someone was saying that something like 2027, OpenAI is going to have to actually start paying for its compute power. So it's not actually been paying for the compute power so far. So the reason why we can all shove in these little, you can get your little, stories and so on, is because OpenAI aren't actually paying, the bills at the moment. But actually, when that time does come, then life will get more interesting. But I suppose the flip side to that is the models will also be more efficient.
Yeah, it will. And I think it'll just end up becoming, like, for a lot of people, it'll be a subscription cost that is like the new Netflix or Disney Plus. It's one of those things that everyone has, and it's got multiple tiers, and it's just part of what you consider to be an essential expense. I think that'll be where it goes in future. I mean, even ChatGPT now, I can only ask 3 questions before it's saying, "No, you've run out of your limit for today." Do you know what I mean?
Oh, really?
So, I think so. I'm pretty sure that's what the case yesterday. So
well, you've got to leave that. You've got to leave that there. Yeah.
If you want to use these tools now, you need to buy the basic subscription plan, right? So I think that'll become commonplace in the next year or two. That'll be part of your budget every month. Netflix, food, bills, AI. I think that'll be the new thing, I think.
So you can only ask 2 questions because your third question is the story for your daughter. So you really only got 2 questions per day.
Well, actually, I get ahead of the game, so I could use my 3 messages a day to go and give me the next story, because at the end of the response it says, "Would you like me to generate tomorrow's story?" It's a follow-on. Yes, please. That's message number 2. So I've got a few days worth ready to go. So yeah, all good.
Very good. So let's move on to the something old, something new part of the podcast. I really love this part of the podcast because
it's really cool. It's really unique. I love it. Really great idea.
I never quite know what's coming, and I kind of don't want to know in advance. So let's start with, and I love the fact that with the question around something old, I know that we all kind of like to talk about the shiny new things and so on, but actually it is worth reminding ourselves some of those like fundamental things, like, hey, don't forget that this thing is still cool and you should know about it.
Yes.
And that's the point of this question. So do you want to give us your something old?
Galleries in Canvas apps. It just, no matter what you need to do in a Canvas app, chances are a gallery is going to be your answer. And what I've always loved about it is one of the original controls in Canvas apps. Like, this is way back, that original designer experience when you had like a gallery, a button, a form and a text box. We didn't really have a lot. We were way back in the beginning. And what I've always loved, coming from a point of from Excel and doing like conditional formatting, so you can highlight a column, format text in the ribbon, and you put in one rule and it applies to everything automatically.
Yes.
I've always loved that experience. So I really enjoyed that when I came into Canvas apps. Like, if I add a gallery to a data source, it shows all the records, and I've just got to put some code in one place, and it auto formats across everything. And I can do all this manipulation. I can put in formatting, I can put in rules, I can add in different bits, and it just automatically propagates down my whole gallery. I love galleries. I always have. Very quick and efficient way to visualize data, to provide nice UI experiences for customers or for yourself. Galleries. And even like the modern gallery, it's still just a gallery. It's just a way to visualize records quickly.
Yeah.
And I love that. I've always loved that in Canvas apps. Just add a gallery, add a data source, and you're halfway there on a screen design. It's wonderful. So galleries for me, wicked. Always loved them, always will.
And I think that if you're using something like Power BI, right? Like, Power BI lives in the world, in my opinion, of millions of records.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it's important to remember that Power Apps doesn't live in the world of millions of records.
No, it doesn't. But it can do. And there was a video I watched a few years ago of how to, is it pagination or pagination? I don't know how to pronounce it. Whereby you load in a set number of records on a screen at each time, and you put arrows at the bottom to say page 2, page 3, page 4. Yeah. And that technique used a hidden gallery, and then you had a visible gallery that referenced the hidden gallery. We're still going back to galleries, just being really cool. Yeah. Should we be doing that? Probably not. For, like you say, those hundreds of thousands of records every time, model-driven app or a Power BI report. Canvas apps and galleries might not be the answer, but still ways around it, I guess, with a gallery.
But ultimately, the purpose of the app, like, you can say, oh, how awful is it? I can only see, 100 records. Yeah. But, like, you can't see 100 records anyway on a screen.
You see about, 10, 15 at max?
Yeah, exactly. So it's really about having a kind of, call it a rich user experience with the records that you can see, and obviously you can filter and all that sort of thing. So, but it is interesting to think about the two products as being Power BI living in the world of millions of records, and Power Apps living in the world of not millions of records, like a smaller number of. And obviously there's ways around it. So you went for galleries. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of those things I always just seem to do. Open up a Canvas app. Even like if you use AI to build an app for you, like through Plan Designer now or through a prompt, even the default design is a gallery and a form. Like it's just one of the no matter what additional functions you add to a Canvas app now, like all the new stuff, modern controls, the core concept of a canvas to me is always a form and a gallery.
Yeah.
I think that will be the case for some time, and even AI generated apps are using that as their core component. So that's why galleries to me just sort of are standing the test of time at the moment, at least, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And so if we moved over to something new, now you don't have to limit yourself to kind of like it came out last week or something like that, but like something that you've kind of maybe used more recently, across Power Platform that you think, hey, do you know, this could be cool. This could be in a couple of years' time something old that you still think is cool, if you see what I mean. Yeah. But something new that you think is quite neat.
The new Power Platform Admin Center experience. I love it. Okay. I love the redesign for a start. I just think it looks a little bit slicker with the green rather than whatever it was before. So from a UI perspective, I think it's a lot nicer. There's a lot richer information in the new admin experience now as well, which I spend a lot of my, like we touched on earlier on, an ecosystem architect is less about building solutions for people and more about getting their estate ready for their own staff to build solutions, right? So a lot of my time is therefore spent in the admin centres of customers to make sure they've got the right settings on, there's data loss prevention in place, their environments are clean and have purpose. So I spend forever and a day in the Power Platform Admin Centre. Yeah. So the new experience for me, one, is a lot richer. I say there's more information in there. There's more to learn and get hold of. But if I go back to 2016 and 17, the admin experience for Power Platform was just like an afterthought because it was maker first, right? And it'll give you some admin abilities. But even back in the day, you could only create 2 environments per account. Like, it was mental, the limited amount of admin you could actually do. Yeah. That, I think the new Power Platform Admin Center layout went GA either earlier this year or late last year, I can't remember now. But I love it. I spent so much time in there, and the new experience is fantastic. So, yeah, that's my something new, and it makes my life a lot easier. And maybe the people I work with as well, it's just a much better interface to use and navigate for, you know, what might not necessarily be the most, you know, the sexiest subject, Power Platform governance, but it's very important, and in the world of agents, it's more important than ever. So I'm spending more time than ever in the new admin center, and I love it. Microsoft have done a fantastic job on that one. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to them adding more features and functionality in there because it's really good.
Yeah. Good stuff. So something old, something new, something borrowed. So something where you get to talk about somebody else's content. You go, oh, do you know what? They're really doing a good job there. You know, well done, pat on the back sort of thing.
Yeah, Matthew Devaney for me.
Yeah.
I think most people listening will have a good idea who he is. If not, go and subscribe to his blog because it's wicked. I think he's he's the original blogger in the Power Platform space. He's got a very popular blog. I think he still publishes an article once a week, which is a fantastic cadence and consistency over, I think it must be 4 or 5 years now he's been blogging. Maybe
very high quality. Yeah.
And there's a couple of his blogs that I regularly reference. So I think I can't remember where I said this on a previous interview at some point. Building calendars in Canvas apps.
Yes.
Using a gallery and some arrows and some functionality. Yeah. I can never quite remember how to do that whole thing from scratch. I always forget a bit of code or a bit of config that I should have done. And that one blog post or 2 blog posts that Matthew covered many years ago is just in my favourites. Just like, so I can instantly access it without having to search for his many blogs now. And I borrow that once every couple of weeks, building calendars. Like, you think I'd have learnt by now the whole config, but I always forget a little bit. Yeah, I think his blog is a fantastic space for people, you know, such as you and I, that are perhaps a bit more experienced in the Power Platform, but people new to it as well. There's some great content out there, and you know, Matthews is, you know, up there with the best of them. So yeah, I regularly borrow his content, and I know lots of other people do as well, and it's well deserved.
I think one of the other interesting things about that is there is no advertising on his blog.
I agree.
And some of the other blogs, I'm not going to mention any of them, have got so much advertising on them that you kind of like reading through them, and then you're being offered to like buy like a shed, or you're thinking
completely unrelated to Power.
I was doing a gallery a minute ago.
Yeah, I agree. And that was, I've got a blog space of my own, and that was something I didn't want to do either. I'm not necessarily influenced by Matthew, but the friend that I had who set up my blog site for me was like, oh yeah, put these things on and you can get extra revenue. I was like, I don't like websites that do that. They annoy me. So if I get annoyed for them, are my users going to get annoyed?
Yeah.
They've got to go through a lot of adverts, and each their own. I'm not knocking it, absolutely. But that's something I do like about Matthew's site. There isn't any ads. It's clean. You get the information you want quickly. And that's kind of, in my opinion, is a good benchmark. And that's kind of the influence I had for mine. I was like, I didn't want any adverts. I'm not doing this to make money. Anyway, I'm just putting it for, first and foremost, a place for me to share things out of my brain so I can go and reference it in future.
Yeah, true.
And I'm sure there must be an element of that for Matthew as well, and other bloggers of like, it's a document in time that I can refer to if I get stuck on a bit of code. And that's why I like blogs, because you can put code snippets in, you can copy them.
Yeah.
Well, if you're watching a video, it's a little bit harder to pause it and type it out and whatever else. So yeah, I agree. Like, and again, I'm not knocking anyone who decides to put ads on their websites, but that's something I always resonate with Matthew's. Is like, there's none of that on there.
Yeah.
I mean, you just get to the content you need, and that's what it's all about. Right?
Just remind myself of, I'll just shout out.
It's a shout out worth it. He's a good lad.
It is literally MatthewDevaney.com.
Yeah.
DEVANEY.
I don't know if it's Devaney or Devaney. I always get it.
No, to be fair.
So.
But you know what? I don't know if you ever saw that I did Power Ups for Kids a while back.
Yes.
I did that with. He came on quite a few times.
Amazing.
Yeah. I remember he did a little quiz, which was kind of fun. And he's tremendously good at explaining things.
He is, and it shows in his blog. Very kind of, no fluff, easy. And I think he's got a daughter himself, so I wonder if he's like, he's actually got that sort of instinct to trying to explain things in simple terms. Yeah. I think that's a skill you get as a parent, I think, to some extent. So, I mean, the kids might still not listen. I have that problem, but yeah, whatever. That's another story.
Yeah. And he also used to be an accountant.
He did. Yes, there's a little bit of a posse of us, isn't there? Like. Ex-accountants into Power Platform. Maybe that's
people right? People escaping from it. Okay. So next question. I always love the answers to this one, and this is the something blue. So this is the something in Power Platform that you just think every time you see it, you just think, really, how could this not be better? How did this not go up the list of like not being this rubbish?
Yeah, and I think some of my bugbears have improved. Like with the new flow designer, the window for expressions is now a lot bigger. Whereas for so many years, you're just like letterbox of just like they're just a nonsensical. I'm going to be a bit more broader for this one. And a thing that kind of really gets on my nerves with the Power Platform is that things that stay experimental or in preview for literally years.
Yeah.
Because we are educated in Microsoft's documentation themselves. If it's a preview function, you get that blue box that says preview functions should not be used for production applications, right? But then the irony is the only place to test half of this stuff is in a production tenant.
Right.
You might have access to another one. For an example, error handling, formula level management, error handling in Power Apps, Canvas apps. That was in preview for at least 3 years.
Yeah.
Does that mean I can't use that for 3 years because it was stable and I put it in quite a lot of apps because I need to put error handling around some of my formulas? Yeah. Why did it take so long? I know they've improved the process now to make things go into general availability a lot quicker, which is the North Star where we want features to get to. That means they're fully supportable already. I think it's a bit more broader. It's just things that just stay in preview or experimental for so long that can provide value, but you're sort of in limbo. Like, well, can I use it? Can I not use it? Do I accept the risk? Do I not accept the risk? And I think if those things could be evaluated and either in the bin or pushed to production a lot quicker, I think there'd be a lot more buying with the Power Platform and a lot more enjoyment as well. I want to use things like the PDF function. That's another one in Canvas apps. It's amazing. It's so good. You can take a screen in a Canvas app and make a PDF from the PDF function. I think that's awesome. But it's still not generally available. So do I still use it, not use it? And that's that's the thing that kind of gets me a bit down from time to time.
So, would I be right in thinking that the modern controls are still preview?
I know
they certainly were very recently.
You're right. I think there's quite a few that have now moved to general availability. If you go on some of the forums, there's still, I think, a few issues with them, and there's still a few properties that we'd like to have that we haven't got, but they're a lot more stable now, which is great. But I think, again, they took quite a while to move into products. And again, I'm not discrediting a lot of the hard work that goes on behind the scenes to make these available for people and stable. I'm sure it's not just as simple as pushing it through a simple pipeline. These things take time, and I do appreciate the work that goes on, but it would still be nice if those things could like accelerate a little bit quicker, especially when you've got a new thing that people want. People are going to use it, aren't they? And then you've got bloggers and YouTubers talking about it, and like, yeah, I want to go and use all the new shiny stuff, and actually it might not actually be production ready, and you might get some errors, and that's the difficulty, isn't it?
I wonder if part of the challenge is that you can announce something before it's GA, but you've already had your whiz bang.
Yeah.
So, for example, Modern Controls would have had their whiz bang a long time ago. Okay. So then you can't hardly do a whiz bang a year after and say, oh, by the way, the thing we told you a year ago is now available.
Yeah. People have been using it anyway, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we had something blue, and then the final one is something that you have done, anything really, that that you're proud about. We all kind of keep our light under a bushel, so to speak, and of the many things that you've done, what is something that makes you proud?
I think that from a power platform perspective was the Formula One power app that I built a few years ago. Yeah. If people go into my LinkedIn profile, it's like a featured post. I just built it as a bit of a pet project. We talked earlier on about just learning, and I was on the start of Consultancy in 2021. I was on the bench a bit. I didn't have a lot of work, so just sort of like, I need to keep the skills sharp. So I just built an app based on data that I like. I'm a big Formula One nerd. And a couple of friends of mine said, oh, you should share that on LinkedIn. I'm like, nah, no one cares about me. No one knows who I am. This is way before I was an MVP or had a blog or anything like that. Like, literally no one cares who I am. Like, what's the point of me sharing it on social media? And like, they battered me down a bit. I was like, right, yeah, go on then, I'll share it. And I got like loads of messages and comments and reactions and people from actual Formula One who sit on the pit walls, like asking me if I want to go for a factory tour, and like, oh, maybe we should use our platform instead of our .NET stuff. I was like, the response was so overwhelming. It was amazing. Yeah. It's just one of those sort of things that stands out, and was there for my very first effort, like dipping toes into the community space of like, I've shared something I've done, and people have reacted and said good things. Oh, maybe I'll start a blog, which is in what I did a few months later. So I'm quite proud of that, because it was just a pet project. If I look at it now, and between you and I've never said this to many people, the data model underneath was horrendous. It was very slow. It didn't perform very well, and I had lots of improvements I wanted to do to it, but it looked nice. And that was what the visual that people saw on the social media posts, of an app that looked amazing with graphics and graphs and comparisons and all kinds of stuff. I really went to town on it. I'm quite proud of that one. I still am. I don't even know if I've got that solution anymore, to be honest. I think I might have. It's in a OneDrive. I've not looked at it for a number of years, but I'm really proud of that. I've had out of my one solution. That's another one I'm proud of, because she's still using it. It helps her out every day. So whilst it's not got the sort of global impact, if you like, of many social media likes and shares, I still get a real sense of satisfaction every evening when I can see my wife on the power up I built, putting it the next day and looking at what she's got. I'm like, yeah, we built that. I'm pretty chuffed with that. It's pretty cool.
You need to put some Mickey taking things in, because I know you have a lot of. I know you are like, because I would. I don't know if I was doing that. I would definitely have. Mind you, I would. Get into trouble by putting like fact of the day or something like that, or jokes. That would make me laugh.
I went a bit kind of beyond that. So obviously, I do like a wind up. I'm a bit of a wind up merchant to my wife and my kid, just because I find it funny. So obviously, when I built this app, and then when she kind of went away and I made a few tweaks, I've put in like on Power Apps that when something is successful, you can have like a little notification message.
Yeah.
So I think that every time she adds an appointment, it goes appointment added, and then gives her a compliment on her physical features, shall we say, to be diplomatic.
Yeah.
So she keeps asking me to take it away. It's like, nah, because I own it now, so it's all good. She just got used to me doing that kind of stuff, but yeah, obviously you got to have a bit of fun with it, haven't you? So yeah, why not? And hopefully it puts a smile on her face every time she logs an appointment. So yeah, it's for her own mental health as well. There you go. I'd say that.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure it works. She's probably just curled up in a ball somewhere.
Nah, she just
terrified to hit the submit button.
Yeah, she just rolls her eyes at me these days because she's just like, yeah, whatever. She's just used to my stupid humour, so it's all good.
Good stuff. Yeah, so that brings us to the end of the podcast. I can't believe it. I've been looking forward to this.
So have I. It's been good fun.
And then it's kind of come around really quickly as well, because I said, hey, you want to do a podcast? You said, yes, let's do a podcast. I said, can you do this day? You said, yes, we do this day. And now we're doing it. And
no, it was nice. Nice to be able to schedule it in, especially around this. I've got a few more days off over the coming weeks because of summer holidays, so I'm taking a few extra days off here and there to support the missus, and she's not taking the full brunt, so it was great that we could schedule it in. We already had a WhatsApp back and forth a couple of days ago, so great to get it in. I've been looking forward to this all week, so yeah, it's been good fun. It's good fun.
Oh, fantastic. So we're going to go off the tech now, and now just into the music side, because I think that part of why I want to kind of connect different bits of me to what I do, and I kind of threw in this thing where I did a desert island disc because I thought it was fun for people to do their desert island disc. It's like it gives people a chance to kind of think, oh, what would I do and what would I talk about and so on. So it's over to you to introduce your desert island disc to me.
Nice. All right. Okay. I didn't take very long to think about this actually. It's just a record that was probably two. Not just a song, but an album that I can instantly just sort of transport back to a certain place in my life many moons ago, and I can reimagine the smells, the people, the places, the memories. It's like they're ingrained, and like music for me, largely I've attached memories to lots of music at different parts of my life. Because I used to be in a band. I'm a big heavy metal fan. So I used to be in a couple of heavy metal bands. I used to go on tour. I've been on tour around Europe in my late teens and early 20s. Just shouting down a mic. If you're into heavy metal, you kind of know what that's all about. So music's always been a big part of my life. But there's probably two standout records. And the first one I introduced to you is a band called Foo Fighters, which are very, very popular. And a specific album called The Colour and the Shape, which I think was released in 96, 97. Quite an old record, and I know Foo Fighters have done a lot of other content since then, but that one record is one of those ones where I don't think there's any bad songs on the album, and even 25 whatever it is years on, I don't have to listen to that record for years. I can put it on and I still know all the words. It's like they're burned into my head, the tunes, the memories, so if I had to be on a desert island with just one album, Colour and the Shape by Foo Fighters would be that. It's not like the heaviest I listen to, but it's a point in time where I could just kick back, close my eyes and just smile and just remember that point in time when I used to go to summer camps, and Foo Fighters was always on the stereo and a big part of that sort of era. So that'd be one. If I had to pick another one, The Prodigy, Music for the Jilted Generation would be another one. That is a wall-to-wall banger. And again, that's not heavy, that's dance related, but again, that was at a point in my life when I was just a very angsty teenager, and so angsty music kind of went quite well. So yeah, but if I had to pick a winner between those two, it would be the Foo Fighters, Colour and the Shape. Fantastic album. There you go.
Well, my son's he loves getting vinyl records now.
Oh, cool.
And that might be one I suspect he probably doesn't even know the album. But he's got quite a wide range of tastes and so on, so that might be a good one to just cheekily get him an album and see if I can see if he enjoys it.
I'm sure he will. I can still pick out a few songs from that one, like Monkey Wrench. I still know the words to that one. Everlong, I played that to my daughter the other day, and she was singing along, humming the tune about 10 minutes after. It's like, you weren't even alive when this was written. And I also love the Foo Fighters, the videos they did for some of their songs, because a lot of it was just quite comical and silly.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, like they're forever kind of ingrained in my brain. So yeah, anyone else can kind of get into that music, even from like way back. It still sounds fresh to me, like 25 years on. It still sounds like it could have been written.
Well, music is like that, though, isn't it?
Yeah. There's always albums that you feel could stand the test of time, right? And those are the reasons why they're your favourite albums or your favourite bands, because you can listen to it any time and just get that sort of sense of, yeah, this is a good band. And that's what I love about music. It's great, isn't it?
So I'm going to play us out with a little song. I don't know if you know, you probably heard of, is it the band Passenger? I don't even know who the main singer is.
No, I'm going to go and Google it.
Oh, well, let's hope I got this right. Anyway, and I'm going to sort of sing us out with Scare Away the Dark. Oh, sing at the top of your voice. Love without fear in your heart. We spend our weekdays not living and our weekends in bed. Drink ourselves stupid and work ourselves dead. And all just because that's what a mum and dad said we should do. We should run through the forest, we should swim in the streams, we should laugh, we should love, we should follow our dreams, we should share in the scars and not just the screens. You hear what I'm saying and you know what it means, so sing.